Today we're here with Richard Lemons, Richard and his wife, and they are in Central Florida in an area that's, I'm not going to say sparse, but there's fewer investors and homes sell much more slowly. Richard has been in the mentoring program for a few months.
Yes.
And I didn't realize you had actually done a couple houses before.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know that until recently. But one of the reasons you joined the mentoring program is because you saw the size of our spreads.
Absolutely.
Okay. And that paid off, didn't it?
Oh, yes, it did. Big difference.
Okay. So I'm going to talk about two of his deals, or he's going to talk about them more so than myself. The first one, the woman said to him, just take it off my hands. Well, it sounded pretty good, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
Well, I don't want to interrupt you, but what's ironic is Jim and I looked at it and we said, it's not fair to not give her money for it. So remember this, no good deed goes unpunished. So tell us what happened.
She didn't even realize she owned the property when I found her, but once I talked to her, she was all about just, hey, just unload it, I don't care, just have it.
Take it.
And she said she would expect, on the good day, maybe $1,000 just to relocate. And I said, well, let's see what we can do. And I spoke to you guys. You guys said, hey, let's sign it up for 15.
Yeah, give her 15,000, more than she wanted.
Yeah.
How bad can this be? Well, let's go.
Well, you know, there for a while we were trying to get the closing scheduled and everything, and we lost track of her, and she disappeared, ghosted on us, and stopped returning our calls, and stopped answering the door when we went to go knock on the door. And finally we realized she had another investor come in and backdoor us, basically.
Yeah, stole the deal, frankly, is what it came down to. And he was fairly sophisticated. Because we tried legal maneuvers on him, and he was up to par for sticking to us. And it came down to, we could have gone forward with a costly legal battle, but was it really worth it in the final analysis? So we said, let's go to the next deal.
Yes.
And Richard was gracious enough to come down to the club meeting tonight. So let's talk about that one. Where did you find it? Your wife found it, didn't you?
Yes, wife actually did bandit
This
signs.
is the powerhouse right here.
She actually gets a whole lot better results than I do. So she placed bandit signs out. We got a text off of one, which eventually led to making contact with a guy who was very motivated to relocate to Jacksonville from our area. And he had recently lost his wife to cancer. So when his father fell ill up there, it was important to him to be close to family. So he just wanted to unload his house and get up there as quick as possible. And I asked my good friend Freddie how much he would offer for the property. And
Freddie is the algorithm, the subroutine we have in our REFX program.
And went with his idea of what it would be a good offer, and printed out a contract, and Leia hand delivered it to him.
Way to go.
Yeah. And he did not even focus on the price at all. Yeah. He more or less wanted to negotiate with the closing date. He wanted it to be sooner than we had offered. And I was like, well, hey, you know, we're all about that, but at the same time, I'm still trying to balance, you know, what we could do to get it unloaded with the buyer.
Well, what we're trying to do is sell it during the inspection period. But I think what's really important, what he said so far, is the fact that he didn't care about price. He cared about solution to his problems. That's what we could offer. A realtor would come in and say, I can get you a lot more money. The reality is, had he waited forever, maybe he could and maybe he couldn't. But it didn't come with free and clear title. It came with problems.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Yes.
What were some of the problems?
He had some liens that he had just totally ignored through the years. In fact, one of them was he erected a fence around his property that was improper, and code enforcement slapped a lien on his property. They fined him for it, and he just ignored it. This was in 2008 when they initially recorded this. So it accrued all that interest through that time.
Nice beach. Yeah, thanks for walking in front of the video. We appreciate that.
And he had another lien where when initially he and his wife had purchased this property, it was on well water, and throughout the years that he owned it, the city ran city water through that street and offered everyone to hook up to it. He did, and I guess he was on a payment plan for that cost. And the realization of, okay, well, now I have this payment plan plus the incurred water usage cost was just too much for him. Yeah. So something happened there to where he had a big battle with the city where They shut off his water. He cut the lock. They took the meter, and he hooked himself back up to well water. And
we've seen that many times. The city will literally turn the stopcock off on the water because you haven't paid the water bill, and they lock it. And what happens is the homeowner usually cuts the lock off and opens it up again, and the city sees it. So eventually what the city does, they actually take the water meter off. The smart homeowners have a bypass pipe they put in on both ends. But nonetheless, as an investor coming in, we're responsible to put a new meter on the property, which can be $350 or so. It depends on where you are.
Yes.
So he could have mitigated some of those fines, and he would have made more money.
Yes, he would have.
But he just said, let me out.
Exactly.
So the bottom line was you paid 40 what?
Well, it signed up for $44,500, so it wound up being, with the date that we closed, like $42,000, I believe.
Okay. And then you sold it for $59,900, I believe.
Yes.
And when all the smoke cleared, you netted $16,000 and change.
Yes. Right.
Well, I'm glad your wife did all that work for you.
I know. She did awesome. Thank you. We're winning another one.
So let me ask you this. I don't know what you did before in terms of the program you took, but what was the difference in what you did before where you're getting small profits and what you're doing with us?
My biggest thing that was the big change is now I'm actually can be comfortable representing myself as a cash buyer when I go in as a buyer when I sign these up. And initially I was doing strictly assignments, and everything was up to par until full disclosure. Even though everyone says, hey, only a few investors would care as long as the numbers make sense. They don't care what you make. Well, guess what? I must have met every one of those few investors there in my market, because I've had deals just fall to pieces once they found out I was going to make how much I was going to make.
Yeah, it's sad because their attitude is, I'm going to make $50,000 or $60,000, but you're not entitled to anything.
Exactly.
And they'll steal the deal from you if it comes to that. So we don't do that.
Yeah.
We work the other way.
In the market I'm in, with doing assignments, it's an unspoken rule, even though nobody ever set me down to tell me, but it's almost like a rule of thumb that, hey, expect 2,000. If you get 6,000, great, or somewhere in between. I had profits of $1,700. I've had 2,000. I was able to squeeze 3. When another wholesale investor brings a buyer, maybe I can get a little bit more if we split the deal, but there's, without a doubt, hands down, double closings are the way to go. So that way I don't have to worry about all this.
You're a retired Marine?
No, I was in the Navy.
Navy, okay.
Yeah. Right now, I'm a SWAT cop, and the amount of profit we made on this one deal is about 14 paychecks of take-home.
Oh, great.
So a little over 6 months of take-home pay.
I say this to all servicemen and officers. Thank you for your service.
Well, thank you for what you do, and I appreciate you being grateful for that. But really, what you do, I think it's going to make a difference in a whole lot more people's lives.
Well, thank you very much. Does your wife always talk so much?
Yes, she does. Actually, we'll get her going here in a minute. It'll be over with.
Thanks very much, guys. Have a great day.